Many of you have asked me about my opinion on BitMine stock, ticker symbol BMNR. The stock is down 40% over the last 4 weeks. It's been really, really bad. And this is a stock that I used to own. I sold it at $60 per share. I'm going to tell you why I sold it. And this is going to be a special video because I never talked about my opinion on crypto or Ethereum or Bitcoin or anything on YouTube. So I'm going to talk about some of that today. And I really hope you enjoy it as always. Now, if you're betting on BitMine, you're betting on Tom Lee, which is chairman of BitMine. And he's a legend on Wall Street, you could say. You could say he's a perma bull. He's always optimistic, and it pays to be optimistic in the stock market, which is why he has, such an amazing track record, and it's really hard to bet against him. Now, BitMine is a treasury company, you could say, and the question is, why would you invest in a treasury company if you can own, Ethereum itself? And this is a good question. For me personally, the reason why I was caught into the treasury company like BitMine or even MSTR, but especially BitMine, is they focus on creating Ethereum per share worth of value. Just like a regular company would focus on earnings per share, those companies want to maximize the value creation of either Bitcoin per share or Ethereum per share. This is an example of Bitcoin with MicroStrategy, where Bitcoin has gone up 11x since, I believe, 2020, but MicroStrategy stock has gone up 30x. Now, some of it was due to a multiple expansion, but a lot of it was due to MicroStrategy using what they call intelligent leverage for them to be able to create more Bitcoin per share worth of value than they issued or however they acquired it. Now, with BitMine, it was the same thing until a few weeks ago. Ethereum went up 1.5 times and BitMine went up 9.5 times. This is due to Tom Lee creating a lot of Ethereum per share worth of value. So this is like a leveraged bet on Bitcoin and Ethereum in general. Now, how does BitMine create more value of Ethereum per share? One of it is they issue stock at a premium to the net asset value. So many times BitMine was trading at 2.5 times, or even 1.5 times. But let's just take 2 times their net NAV or net asset value per share. If they're trading at 2 times, that means they can issue shares at a massive premium to what their market cap is. And if they can do that, they can take the money and buy Ethereum, which creates more Ethereum per share than they issued. So it's like they're buying 50% more Ethereum for every share that they're issuing. So this is how they create value per share in terms of Ethereum. They issue shares when it's trading at a premium. Once the stock trades at a discount or below net asset value per share, then the company can actually launch a buyback program. They can either use the available cash for them to buy back stock below net asset value and create more Ethereum per share worth of value, or they can actually sell some Ethereum in this case and then buy back the stock because it's trading below this 1 time of net asset value. Now the stock is trading pretty close to 1 time NAV. It was trading at 2.5 times in some cases. So now we're pretty much buying it at net asset value for diluted shares. But this is how this company tends to create Ethereum per share worth of value. They can also do convertibles, like convertible loans for like MSTR 0 or 1%, and they don't convert before 5 years, and they can use it to acquire Ethereum at a specific price, or they can even stake Ethereum and earn income. I believe Tom Lee said up to 100 million in net income, and they can use this net income for them to acquire more Ethereum and create more Ethereum per share worth of value. It's a little bit tough to explain, but it's really very simple. Whenever the stock goes above 1, you could say MNAV, or 1.5 times mainly, they can issue stock and acquire more Ethereum than they issued, creating Ethereum per share. If it goes lower, they can launch a buyback program and even increase the Ethereum per share further. So you could say it's like a glitch for making money if you really know how to use it and if you have the right person running it, and especially the right person that can bring up the hype like Tom Lee could for the stock to even trade above 1 time net asset value for him to be able to issue stock and then create Ethereum per share worth of value. So the question is, why Ethereum? Based on what Tom Lee said, he says that Ethereum is having its 1971, you could say, moment. And back in 1971, the dollar came off the gold standard and the dollar pretty much became worthless. So a lot of people were looking for value. They did find gold as a store of value, and they also launched the financial system. And this is when speculation kicked in and a lot of those products took off, and we had a lot of leverage in the system. It all happened after 1971. Tom Lee believes that this is happening again in 2025 after we had some inflation, we had a lot of things going on, and things are becoming more and more digitalized. So people are looking for Bitcoin as a potential store of value. Although I disagree, I think it mainly follows the Nasdaq. It's a little bit volatile, but they're also looking at Ethereum for them to create a market for digital assets, and this is mainly in tokenization. Many companies are building projects on Ethereum, including Robinhood, want to tokenize real estate, they want to tokenize stocks, and it's all on the Ethereum network. Now, Ethereum is not alone. You also have Solana, which a lot of, I believe, smart people are bullish on that I know. But Solana, from what I understood, is a little bit more efficient than Ethereum. But Ethereum network is much more secure than the Solana network, which is why a lot of those institutions, they prefer Ethereum over Solana, as they prefer more security and privacy over something that's just a little bit more efficient. But tokenization is going to be huge over the next 5 to 10 years, in my opinion. And that would allow you to pretty much own a piece of anything or trade anything you want, including art. This picture of art could potentially be tokenized, and you can own a fractional share in this art picture, kind of like what they came up with the NFTs, but more on a tokenized version on the Ethereum network through Robinhood and a few more brokers. So you could buy a fractional share in, let's say, a painting or maybe a real estate building. You could kind of tokenize it and buy a fractional piece of it and bet on this building, or bet on, maybe Central Park if they tokenize it. Or, it could unlock tens and hundreds of trillions worth of value if they can do anything like that. And they can also do it on stocks, where this is an example with Elon Musk's Tesla, where you could have a time tokenization when you're buying an NPV based on the earnings of a specific date, or maybe something related to a product, or related to a geographical tokenization, or something related to subscription revenues, or their battery storage revenues. And there's a lot of things that could be done with tokenization, and this is likely going to be the future, and it's all being built on the Ethereum network. Now, for Tom Lee, he has a few priorities. One of them is we could say acquiring 5% of the Ethereum network. So now he's around 3%. He wants to acquire 5% of the network. And then he has something called moonshots, where he invests in a lot of speculative things. Like he invested in some token and it went up like 1,000%, some kind of a stock. I don't remember the name, but he wants to invest in a lot of those, and he can actually do it. Now, the only problem with this whole strategy is you really need a lot of optimism for the stock to trade at a premium. If it's trading right at MNAV, just where it's trading at right now, Tom Lee is going to have to use the cash available, which is around 600 million. After that's gone, there's really not much you could do. You need either a premium or you need a discount. If you get a premium, then they can issue stock at a premium and create more Ethereum per share worth of value. If it's trading at a discount, then they can maybe sell Ethereum, or they could do something else, raise the money and buy back stock to create more Ethereum per share. But if it keeps trading at one time, I don't think you're going to really get much out of it. But the way I would look at, Ethereum in general and BitMine, and I'm not an expert on the area, but if I'm looking to bet on Ethereum, I think BitMine here makes a lot of sense, because you're pretty much buying it at par value. It's no longer trading at a premium. It was even trading at a discount a few days ago. So you're pretty much buying it on par. If you want to bet on Ethereum, you're getting Tom Lee, which will likely generate a lot of excitement again. The stock's going to go up. Yes, he's going to dilute stock, but he's going to create more Ethereum per share of value than he issued. Then he could stake it and use the net income and manage it. So you have one of the best managers in the world, and you're buying it at pretty much one time. So I don't see why, if I'm looking to bet on Ethereum, why I wouldn't be buying BitMine. and I might buy BitMine again in the future. But for me personally, the reason why I sold BitMine is because I looked at my portfolio and I said that I own Robinhood. Robinhood is the one that's tokenizing everything. A lot of people trade crypto on Robinhood, and I own SoFi, which is also getting into crypto. So those are my two crypto exposure in my portfolio, and I don't really need to directly own BitMine or own maybe something like Ethereum personally or Bitcoin. And for me, again, I don't really care too much about, you could say, cryptocurrencies in general. I believe the best way of doing it is owning the brokers like SoFi and Robinhood. It's like betting on the casino and everyone is just trading them, but you're collecting the commissions. So this is the position I like to be in. But I think BitMine over here is getting really interesting if you believe in Tom Lee, if you believe in the future of Ethereum and tokenization in general, which will likely be massive. And again, I'm not an expert on this area, but I just wanted to make this quick video and talk about it and give you my thoughts on crypto and, BitMine in general. And I really hope you enjoyed it. It was not financial advice. If you did enjoy it, please press the like button and maybe consider subscribing. So I'll talk to you in another video.